Hey everyone, welcome to Bookish Nook, and today I am doing a review of Richelle Mead's The Fiery Heart, which is the fourth installment in the Bloodlines series. If you have not read the previous books, you should leave because you will be spoiled immediately. Now, The Fiery Heart picks up as soon as the Indigo spell finishes, with Adrian and Sydney's now blooming relationship. I enjoyed this book, not as much as the others. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. More of because stylistic choices than actual plot. At the Indigo spell, as you remember, Zoe was introduced into the plot line. So now, obviously, Sydney has to deal with her little sister's ever watchful eye. I found her character really annoying, and even in the first book I didn't like her, and I continue to not like her in this book. So Sydney continues to do her spells and all that extracurricular activity that she is not supposed to be doing, while sneaking around with Adrian and trying to avoid detection by Zoe. And she does a good job of it throughout the entire book. That's pretty much what the book is. So I'm going to jump into the spoilery part of the review now. Now, I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars, and I was pretty sad to do that, because I did not like how Richelle Mead decided to do a dual point of view between Sydney and Adrian. Now, I enjoy a dual point of view, don't get me wrong, but there has to be two things that the author does. First, the dual point of view has to be from the beginning of the series and not in the middle of the series, because everyone knows what that means. Secondly, the dual point of view has to be distinguishable from each other, so you have to know, without even looking at the title of the chapter, who you're reading. There's a few parts in this book that I was kind of lost and kind of had to flip back a few pages to see who I was reading. It wasn't like that throughout the entire book. There were a few instances though, so that I didn't really like that at all. Now, because we have this dual point of view, we have Adrian's side of the story. And don't get me wrong, I love Adrian, I love his character, and I love him and Sydney together, but I did not like his portion of the book. We have a loss of adventure on Sydney's part because of Adrian's point of view. We see firsthand Adrian and Sydney interacting each other from their different perspectives. But in regards to Sydney, we see the interaction with Adrian, but we hear about what she did with the spells and all that stuff on the side. So I didn't like that at all, because one of the reasons I like this series so much is Sydney's adventures and the magic and all that fun stuff. So I really missed that in this book. As everyone knows, Zoe is part of this story now, and I didn't like her character at the beginning. I didn't like her character in this book. She has no redeeming qualities, and as you know, the ending, 0 redeeming qualities. When the topic of their parents' divorce comes up, and Sydney's sort of wishy-washy between who she wants to talk for, I found that a little annoying, because it's like, you should be talking for your mom and not your dad, because he's just not the nicest person in the world. So it's like, make up your mind already. We all know you're going to be speaking for your mom. Just drop it already. And obviously Zoe's reaction is, like hurt and distress and unloyalty. So I really don't like Zoe's character, and I think that even if she redeems herself in the next, I think, 2 books, she saves Sydney or she does something nice, I still won't like her character. I think she's done too many horrible things to be forgiven. As for Adrian, because at this point of view, we can see actually how much he's evolved from the first book, and even Vampire Academy. He is almost a new person. He is completely devoted to Sydney, and he can admit his faults, at least to himself, so that's a good aspect of him. We also see how strong he is, and I refer to the point where he pretty much creates the Strigoi vaccine. Although it comes at a cost to him, he's able to go see a shrink and get pills and stuff, despite his not wanting to and his almost addiction to spirit, and he overcomes his fear that he won't be able to save the ones he loves, because the pills are muting his spirit. So as much as I didn't like the dual point of view, I did like to see this other side of Adrian overcoming his fears and overcoming his insecurities about everything. So that was nice. But although I feel like the end of the book really unraveled all that, because you see how insecure and desperate and sad he is when Sydney's gone, and as endearing as it is because he loves her, it's sort of I found it almost pathetic because it's sort of like, man up, you know, like she's counting on you and everyone is counting on you to figure something out, so you need to man up and figure out a different way of saving her or communicating with her or something. As for when Adrian, Sydney, and Neil go to court, I really enjoy that because this book has really shown me how much I love Rose's character. She is so fun and strong and exciting that every time she's in these, we get a glimpse of her in these books, I get so excited because it's just kind of like, what is she doing now? Oh my god. I didn't realize how much I liked her character until these books, so I'm glad that that is incorporated into it. As for the dabbling scene, where Sydney finds out about the lie Adrian told her and she goes back to her room by herself and gets sort of ambushed, I thought that Sydney was a lot stronger than that and capable of a lot more, because at the indigo spell she pretty much takes down that witch, Veronica's apprentice, I can't remember her name, almost all on her own, and she's able to perform these amazing feats of spells that she wasn't supposed to be able to perform. So I feel like that scene really underplayed her strength, not only in magical things, but her ability to reason and logic through a situation, which that went completely out the window. And I understand because she was scared, but I feel like she's a lot stronger character than she was portrayed in that scene. As for the ending, I'm sort of speechless because I knew that was coming. I knew that they were going to get caught, but I honestly didn't think it was going to be in this book. I thought it would be in the next book. Because I think there are 2 more books coming out in the series, so I'm really wondering where the plot is going with 2 books, because I feel like everything can be resolved probably in 1 book. So I'm really excited to see where that goes, and just that last chapter is so dark and depressing and really shows you how crazy the alchemists really are. You know, we see them and we're like, wow, these people are, you know, like, they're not okay, these people are crazy. And then you see this scene with Sydney and that craziness is just put up to a whole new level, and it's ridiculous. You know, she's laying there naked in the dark and she has no idea what's going on. They're constantly drugging her. Like, that is intense. I was not expecting that from the alchemist at all. I knew that brainwashing was involved, but I didn't think it was to that level. I thought it was more of they reinforced the tattoo over and over with stronger compulsions and not really sort of that sensory deprivation. And you know, that is hinted to when we see Keith. And Keith is a completely new character, and we see how empty and almost soulless he really is, when in fact they're trying to save his soul. So it's sort of ironic. As I said before, I think that Adrian needs to really man up. Like, his last chapter is so like pathetic. Oh, when he's just kind of moping around, he doesn't know what to do. He came off the pills to use spirit and it's not working, and he feels like that's the only thing he can do, and he doesn't realize, as Sydney's told him this entire book and series, how capable he is at doing things. So I really feel like he needs to just man up. Overall, I really enjoyed The Fiery Heart, despite the hang-ups I have about the stylistic choices. It was really, a really good installment after the Indigo spell, and it really gets you excited and pumped for the next book. The next book, which is The Silvery Shadows, comes out July 29th, 2014, so I cannot wait for that. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, please hit like and subscribe, and tell me if you've read The Fiery Heart and what you thought of it. Bye!